You say you want to succeed, but how badly do you want it? Badly enough to rise while others sleep, to walk forward even when the world pushes you back. There is a voice inside you quiet, but relentless that knows you were born for more. Not for comfort, not for mediocrity, but for greatness forged through fire. This voice doesn't shout, it whispers. It doesn't beg, it calls. And if you're still enough to hear it, it will lead you. Today is not just another day. It's a door, and the key, it's in your hands. The only question is, will you dare to turn it? Welcome to Unlocking Wisdom, a channel where we awaken the sleeping potential within you. Here, we don't just talk about success, we become it. Through divine insight, historical wisdom, and spiritual fire, every word is designed to move you forward. If you're ready to live with purpose, discipline, and power, you're in the right place. Let's begin this journey together. The fire beneath your feet, awakening the everyday warrior. I am George Washington. I walked through frost with blood on my boots and doubt on every side. Yet I kept moving not because I was fearless, but because I was convicted. And now, I speak to you not as a relic of history, but as a reminder of what still lives within you. There is a warrior beneath your skin, but he sleeps beneath the layers of excuses, fears, and comfort. Real success does not arrive in thunder. It arrives in footsteps, quiet, consistent, daily. Most people wait for a sign. But I tell you now, your daily action is the sign. The men I led did not wait for perfect conditions. We fought while starving, we marched while freezing, and we believed while bleeding. Because success is not born from ease. It is carved from perseverance. So I ask you, what are you doing with your morning? With your pain? With your time? If you seek to awaken your power, you must first become intimate with discipline, not the cold discipline of punishment, but the sacred discipline of purpose. Your life will not change through motivation alone. No, motivation is a spark, but it is habit that keeps the fire burning. You must learn to love repetition, to see beauty in the mundane, to rise even when your mind screams rest. Because every time you choose to act when it's hard, you train your spirit to lead. Your body, there is a voice inside of you that already knows what to do, but it has been drowned out by noise, by doubt, comparison, and self-loathing. I tell you now, silence the outside world, and you will hear your truth. You do not need more opinions, you need more conviction. You do not need a louder crowd, you need a deeper WHY. When I led men into battle, I saw fear in their eyes, but I also saw something stronger, faith, not just in me but in the cause, in the reason, in the future. What is your reason, Av? You defined it. If you haven't, stop everything and do it now. Because a life without direction is a ship without a rudder. It moves, but never arrives. And what a tragedy it would be to be busy your whole life and never become who you were meant to be. This world is not waiting to crown you. It is waiting to challenge you. And every day you hesitate, you surrender territory that belongs to your destiny. You were not born to survive, you were born to lead. Whether that means leading a family, a vision, a company, or your own mind, lead. Stand, decide, and above all, act. Do not confuse movement with progress. Checking boxes does not build legacy. Only aligned action creates transformation. You must begin your day not by reacting but by commanding. Every morning is a battlefield. Win the morning, and you win the day. Lose it, and you lose momentum, focus, and power. Here's how you begin. Silence, breath, truth. Wake up, sit still, and ask yourself, who must I become today to honor the life I've been given? Not tomorrow, not next year. Today, then move. Move with intention. Do not scroll build. Do not complain construct. Do not fear face. Because with every aligned step, you become the person your dream demands. And when it gets hard, and it will, remember this, hardship is not your enemy. It is your refiner. Fire does not destroy gold, it reveals it. I walked through storms that would have broken most men. But I was not most men. And neither are you. Somewhere inside you, There is a version of you that already knows how to win. But he's waiting. Waiting for you to stop hesitating. Waiting for you to rise, and now is the time. Don't just listen to me. Hear me. Let these words sink into your bones like a second heartbeat. You are not your failures. You are not your fear. You are your decision to rise today. Because success is not somewhere you arrive, it is someone you become. Through fire, through discipline, through action, every single day. So if you've been sleeping on your gift, wake up. If you've been shrinking in your power, stand tall. And if you've been waiting for permission, consider this it. This is your time. This is your season. And this is your call. Let no man, no pain, and no past keep you from stepping forward. Your legacy is not written in grand moments, but in the small steps you take when no one is watching. That is where greatness is forged. And that is how success finds you, because you were never chasing it. You were becoming it. The enemy within, breaking free from the chains of fear and doubt. Let me tell you the truth that no battlefield ever taught me. But every silent night confirmed, your greatest enemy is not outside. It's within, not the critics, not the competition, not even the circumstances. The greatest war is fought inside the soul. The battlefield, your mind, and fear, doubt, and delay, they are the enemy's sharpest weapons. When I stood before the Continental Army, I did not only see soldiers, I saw young men who doubted if they were worthy. I saw eyes that trembled not just from the cold, but from the voices in their own heads. You can't do this. You're not strong enough. You will fail. And yet, I looked them in the eye and said, stand with me. One more day. One more step. Because fear grows loud when you're on the edge of transformation. And now you are standing on that edge. You're here because deep down, a part of you is tired of settling. You're exhausted from shrinking into comfort. You are no longer satisfied living beneath your calling. But the voice of fear has grown so familiar. It sounds like your own. And you've started to believe it. Hear me now. Fear is not a stop sign, it's a signal. It means you are moving towards something that matters. You don't feel afraid when you're playing small. You feel afraid when you're about to rise. But most people do not rise, not because they lack talent, but because they lack the courage to trust themselves. You must come to terms with this. You will never fully feel ready. The stars will not align. The path will not lie up in perfect sequence. You move anyway. You act in faith, not in certainty. Because every time you do, fear loses its grip, doubt weakens, and confidence is born not from success, but from action. Success belongs to those who keep moving, especially when the voice inside says stop. You think you need more information, but what you really need is to trust your intuition. That quiet knowing in your gut, that whisper in the stillness, that is not weakness. It is divine guidance. It is strength disguised as stillness. There were days I doubted the revolution would ever succeed. I saw defeat. I tasted failure. But I did not let the storm outside decide the clarity inside. I stayed connected to my core, to the call, to the higher vision. And that's what carried me. So I ask you now, what vision are you carrying? And if you are not carrying one, whose vision are you living? Your parents, your societies, a version of yourself that was shaped by past wounds. Let it go. Not with force, but with truth. Sit with yourself. Ask the questions you've been avoiding. What do I truly want? Who am I when no one is watching? What pain have I not yet made peace with? What gift in me have I been too afraid to give? This is not weakness. This is sacred warfare. You are not fighting others, you are liberating yourself. Liberating yourself from the belief that you must be perfect. From the lie that your worth depends on approval. From the illusion that safety is found in staying small. Let me tell you, this comfort is a slow death. It feels good today. It buries your greatness tomorrow. But pain, the right kind of pain, is sacred. The pain of growth. The pain of facing yourself. The pain of discipline. That pain doesn't destroy, awakens. It. Isn't the breaking that we find the blessing. You were not born to tiptoe through life, hoping to arrive safely at death. You were born to burn with purpose, to be fire in a world that settles for smoke. But the fire must first begin within you, and it begins by choosing to let go. Let go of the need to be liked. Let go of the pressure to have it all figured out. Let go of the voice that says you are behind. You are not behind, you are becoming. And everything you've walked through, every dark valley, every failure, every loss, it has not delayed you. It has prepared you. It has carved into your soul the very space your destiny will now fill. You are not disqualified, you are refined. So stop asking, why me? And start declaring, why not me? Why not be the one in your family to break the pattern? Why not be the one who turns pain into power? Why not be the one who chooses faith over fear, not once but daily? Let your breath remind you, you are still here. That means the story is not over. That means the page is still blank. And you hold the pen, and now you must write. Not just with words, but with choices, with boundaries, with courage, with love, with relentless, unapologetic action. Because the longer you wait for the fear to leave, the longer you stay in the cage. But the cage is unlocked, and the key has always been inside you. All you have to do is turn it, walk forward with trembling. Legs if you must, but walk. Speak with a shaky voice, but speak. Act even if your hands shake, but act. Because your freedom is not on the other side of fear. It's on the other side of movement. The enemy within will scream. It will try to pull you back into old cycles, into familiar prisons. But remember who you are. You are not the past. You are not your scars. You are not the doubt. You are the decision to rise over and over and over. And you do not walk alone. For every step you take into the unknown, something greater walks with you. Call it spirit. Call it God. Call it purpose. But it is there and it moves when you move. This is not just a motivational message. This is a divine interruption. A call to wake up, to shake the dust off your calling, to remember who you are. And if you've forgotten, let me remind you, you are a warrior, a leader, a soul chosen for this exact moment in time, not to merely survive it, but to shape it. So stand, face the enemy within, and speak the words that break chains. I am not afraid anymore. Say it again. I'm not afraid anymore. Because even if fear comes, it no longer controls you. Because now you act anyway. Rewire the mind. Reclaim the power. Every great revolution begins with one thing, a new belief. And your personal revolution, your rise into who you were created to be, begins the same way. Not by changing the world around you, but by changing the words you speak inside. Your mind is not just a space of thoughts, it is a battlefield of destiny. I've seen stronger men fall because of what they believed. And I've seen tired, weary souls rise not because their strength returned, but because their mind changed. Let me speak to the very core of you now. You are not your thoughts, you are the one. Who chooses which thought leads? Most people do. Not fail because they lack opportunity. They fail because they never reprogram the voice that tells them, I'm not enough. It's too late. I always mess things up. And they let those scripts become law. But I'm here to tell you, that voice is not truth, it's repetition. And repetition can be rewritten. When I stood against an empire with nothing but courage, ragged clothes, and trembling men, I understood this one law of nature. We do not rise to the level of our dreams, we fall to the level of our patterns. Your brain is a garden, and every thought is a seed. If you do not plant intentionally, the weeds of fear and shame will take over by default. But if you begin daily to speak power, to speak truth, to declare who you are becoming, you rewire everything. Not overnight, but over time, not by emotion, but by decision. You cannot afford to wake up each day and let the old script play on autopilot. No, you must interrupt it with authority, with fire, with focus. Because what you repeat, you become. If you say, I always quit, you will. If you say, I'm too broken, you will live like you are. But if you dare to say, I am being transformed, then even your pain becomes a platform. I want you to understand something deep. Your mind is not broken, it's just programmed by your past. But your spirit is eternal. It knows truth. It recognizes the call. It longs to guide you, but your mind must become its ally, not its cage. That's why every morning matters. That's why rituals matter. That's why words matter. You must become your own prophet. You must speak into your own life until your spirit believes it again. And when your brain protests good, that means you're disrupting old code. That means the fire is working. That means you're waking up from the hypnosis of average. Don't stop just because it feels unfamiliar. That feeling is proof you're rewriting history. When we built a new nation, we weren't just fighting armies, we were fighting the memory of being ruled. We had to unlearn dependency. We had to retrain our people to think like the free. And you must do the same. You have been conditioned to shrink, to fit in, to play it safe. But hear me, your mind was not made for safety. It was made for mastery. And mastery requires repetition, not perfection - repetition. I challenge you for the next 90 days. Speak into yourself as if you were training a soldier, because you are. You are training your mind to believe in your own greatness again. Wake up and say, I am focused, I am powerful, I am disciplined, I take aligned action daily. I don't wait, I build. I don't wish, I walk. I don't shrink, I rise, not just once, daily. Only if needed. Because the brain doesn't obey what you know, it obeys what you prove through consistency. You must move from inspiration to installation. Let your affirmations become anchors. Let your language become a sword. Let your daily rituals become a shield. Because this world will not hand you transformation. You must demand it from within. And what about the days when you feel tired, empty, like a fraud? Good. That's when the real work begins. Because true transformation happens when you act against your old programming. When you write a new line in the script, even when the old one screams louder. This is how you reclaim power, not through force, but through discipline. Discipline is divine. It is sacred. It is the daily worship of your future. It is not punishment. It is devotion. Every time you say yes to what aligns and no to what distracts, you reclaim yourself. Let's talk about distraction. Because that, more than anything, is the silent killer of modern greatness. Your attention is sacred. But the world wants to hijack it scroll by scroll, notification by notification. And when your attention is scattered, your power dissolves. So, unplug. Get quiet. Get intentional. Reclaim your focus. You don't need to know everything. You just need to be aligned. One aligned action is more powerful than 100 scattered moves. The world may not reward it right away, but your soul will. And from that space of silence, of intentional focus, you build something unshakable. You build a mind that obeys the mission, a heart that refuses to settle, a focus that cuts through the fog, a spirit that leads instead of follows. And when the old voice returns, then it will you no longer fear it. Because now you have tools. Now you have language. Now you have chosen to become the architect, not the prisoner. And one day, not far from now, someone will ask you how you changed, and you will smile not with arrogance, but with sacred gratitude and say, I stopped, letting my thoughts run me, and I chose to become who I was always meant to be. From burnout to breakthrough, mastering your inner energy. Let me tell you what most people get wrong about success. They chase it with brute force. They grind until they are numb. They hustle until they collapse. And then they wonder why. They feel empty when they finally arrive. I've seen men with swords in their hands and no fire in their souls. And they lost because energy, not effort, decides longevity. Burnout is not a sign that you've done too much. It's a sign that you've done too much of the wrong thing, without being aligned to why you're doing it in the first place. You're not here to suffer through life. You're here to ignite it. But to do that, you must master one of the greatest forces within you, your inner energy. When I led my army through bitter winters, What kept us alive was not just food or fire. It was something deeper purpose. That's what fueled us when our bodies failed us, when our breath turned to smoke in the cold, and the ground beneath our boots was frozen with despair. We moved anyway, not from muscle, but from mission. You cannot live a powerful life if your soul is starving. And many are, starving for meaning, starving for clarity, starving for connection with themselves. They think they need rest, but what they really need is Ray-alignment. Let me ask you something sacred. Are you aligned with the work you are doing? Are you aligned with the people you surround yourself with? Are you aligned with the habits you repeat each day? Or are you living like a stranger in your own life? Because no amount of sleep can revive a soul that is exhausted from living in misalignment. You must reclaim your energy not by doing less, but by doing what is true. And to do that, you must slow down, not to quit, but to listen. Stillness is not laziness. Stillness is wisdom. It is the space where your soul catches up with your ambition. It is where you hear the whisper that says, this path no longer serves you. Or, that dream is still alive, go back and get it. You must honor your energy as sacred. You must treat it as a temple, not a trash bin for other people's expectations. Not a battery for society's endless demands. You must protect it the way you would protect a sacred flame in a storm. And how do you do that? You start with boundaries. You start by saying no to what drains and yes to what fuels. You start by becoming aware of what fills your tank and what depletes it. When you scroll mindlessly for hours, your energy leaks when you say yes out of guilt. Your energy leaks when you betray your own truth to please others. Your energy leaks. But when you speak truthfully, when you walk in purpose, when you rest without guilt, when you act with intention, you become unstoppable. Energy is the currency of your calling. Manage it well. You must learn to listen to your body not as an inconvenience, but as a compass. Fatigue isn't failure. It's feedback. It says, pause, align, reconnect. And the most powerful reconnection is not external, it is internal. Breathe. Get quiet. Ask yourself, what am I chasing and why? Who am I trying to impress? What would I do if I no longer feared judgment? The answers won't shout. They'll whisper, but they'll feel like coming home. Let me take you deeper. You were created to radiate, but too many live dimmed. Why? Because they've given their light away to people who never deserved it, to opinions that never mattered, to fears that never came true. It is time to take your light back. You don't need permission to protect your peace. You don't need approval to honor your rhythm. You don't need validation to choose your own pace. Your pace is holy. Your rhythm is divine. It was never meant to match anyone else's. And what happens when you reclaim your energy? You stop fighting battles that don't belong to you. You stop overexerting to prove your worth. You start building from a place of overflow, not emptiness. That's when your work becomes electric. That's when people ask, how do you do so much and still have peace? Because it's not about doing more, it's about doing from alignment. Let's talk about energy leaks. One more time. They're subtle but dangerous. The moment you start compromising your values to avoid discomfort, you leak. The moment you say yes to someone else, but say no to your own calling, you leak. The moment you trade authenticity for acceptance, you leak. And slowly, silently, your fire dims. But not anymore. From this moment on, you walk different. You guard your fire. You trust your pulse. You honor your rhythm. You protect your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. And here's the shift. You don't wait until you're in the mood. You don't wait until energy magically appears. You generate it through movement, through alignment, through breath, through fierce decision. Some days, that decision is simple. Drink water. Go for a walk. Turn off the noise. Say the hard no. Start the scary yes. Rest with purpose. Work with presence. You don't need a new life. You need new patterns, new priorities, new protection of your sacred source. And don't confuse chaos for purpose. Many are busy but not alive. Many are moving but not growing. But you will be different. You will rise, not drained but lit, not anxious but anchored, not performing but becoming. And the best part, as you elevate your energy, you elevate your results. Why? Because your energy introduces you before you speak. It writes your story before you act. It either repels or attracts what is aligned. And you have full authority over it. You are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are not drained forever. You are awakening. And that shifts the moment you decide to pour into yourself. As deeply as you pour into others, that is the moment breakthrough begins. From burnout to breakthrough is not a leap. It's a return to your center, a return to what is true. And that return starts now. Awaken the flame. Reignite your passion and purpose. I want to speak to the part of you that used to dream without limits. The part of you that once looked at the stars and thought, why not me? The part of you that felt alive just imagining what could be. That flame, it didn't die. It dimmed beneath the dust of disappointment. It got buried under the weight of duty, fear, and repetition. But hear me now, it's still there. And I'm here to help you bring it back. You were not born to drift. You were not placed on this earth to merely pay bills, please others, and die quietly. You were created to burn with purpose. And where there is purpose, there is power. Somewhere along the way, you stopped believing in that. You traded the fire of your calling for the comfort of the predictable. You let fear dress itself up as logic and convince you that safety was smarter than passion. But deep down, you felt the ache, the restlessness, the quiet knowing that this whatever routine you've been stuck in, isn't it? That ache, it's not something to ignore. It's not brokenness. It's your soul trying to wake you up. When I led a revolution, I didn't do it because it was convenient. I did it because I believed in something greater than my own comfort. I believed in purpose, and that belief lit a fire strong enough to outlast fear, doubt, and defeat. And that same fire is what you need now. Let me ask you the question that may change everything. What do you love so much you would suffer for it? Because passion isn't just about what excites you. It's about what sustains you. It's what you're willing to rise for over and over, even when no one claps, even when nothing works, even when you're tired. Passion is not just a feeling. It's a compass. It points to what matters. It points to why you're here. But so many of us silence it. Why? Because we've been trained to be practical, to make reasonable choices, to please others before pleasing purpose, to follow the path of least resistance, rather than the road of divine fire. But let me tell you, no great life was ever built by playing small. No legacy was left by someone who only did what made sense. Every soul that shook the world had one thing in common: they followed the flame. And now it's your turn. Stop asking what you're qualified for. Stop asking who approves. Stop wondering if it's too late. Instead, ask, what sets me on fire? What makes me come alive? What would I regret not doing before I leave this earth? Because the saddest people aren't the ones who failed. They're the ones who never tried, who buried their gift beneath the weight of what if. You have a gift, and it is not random. It is not meaningless. It is sacred. And it is time to give it breath again. So how do you do that? You begin with stillness. Listen. Listen to the ache. Listen to the desire. It won't shout. It will whisper. But if you're quiet enough, you'll hear the pulse of your own purpose. Then you act. Even if the flame is small. Even if the voice trembles. Even if the step is shaky. You fan the flame, not with perfection, but with permission. Permission to try. Permission to fail. Permission to explore. Permission to be fully, fiercely, unapologetically you. Because here's the truth. The longer you live disconnected from your purpose, the heavier life feels. But when you reconnect, when your passion and your actions align, you move. Like water. You wake up on fire. You walk with clarity. And the world begins to respond. Not because you're louder, but because you're real. And authenticity. That's magnetic. That's power. Let me speak to your fear one last time. Yes, it will come. It always does. But now you understand. Fear is not the sign to stop, it's the sign to go. The moment you feel afraid to share your gift, to chase your dream, to speak your truth, that's the moment. You must act, because everything you want is on the other side of the courage you've been avoiding. You don't need the whole plan. You need to say yes to the first step. You don't need certainty. You need fire. And fire doesn't wait for applause. Fire burns because it must. Because it was born to dot, and so were you. This isn't just a message, it's a reckoning. A resurrection of what you thought you lost. A returning to what never left. That version of you that believed in greatness. That version is waiting for your yes. Waiting for your voice. Waiting for you to remember what you were made for. And here's the best part. Your passion, your purpose, it's not just for you. When you rise, others remember they can rise too. When you shine, you light the path for those who are still in darkness. Your purpose is the medicine someone else is praying for. So get out of your own way. Get out of your fear. Get out of your head. And get into your spirit. This is the day you return to your fire. The power of daily discipline, becoming the person your vision requires. There's a truth so simple, so often ignored, yet it holds the key to every breakthrough you seek. Your future is built in the choices you make, daily, not in the goals. You write once a year. Success isn't mysterious. It's a pattern. It's a rhythm. And that rhythm is called discipline. I watched men in battle rise not because they were the strongest, but because they were the most consistent. I saw lives change not through single moments of glory, but through hundreds of invisible acts of discipline. It was the man who sharpened his sword every night, even when there was no fight in sight, who became unshakable in war. And now I tell you, your life will rise or fall with what you choose to repeat. Discipline is not punishment. It is freedom. It is choosing today who you want to become tomorrow, and walking toward that version with unwavering focus, no matter how you feel. But in today's world, we've been taught to follow our emotions, to only move when we're motivated, to stop when it's uncomfortable. But listen closely, if you only act when you feel like it, you will never live the life you were meant to live. Discipline says, I will show up even when I'm tired. Discipline says, I will write when I don't feel inspired. Discipline says, I will train even when no one is watching. Because discipline doesn't care about feelings. It is loyal to your future, not your mood. Let me ask you directly, what habits are you repeating that are silently destroying your potential? What distractions have you welcomed into your life as if they were harmless? What excuses have you baptized as reasons you cannot hold on to both the life you want and the comfort that's killing it? If you want to transform, you must create structure around your soul. Discipline is how you protect your purpose from the chaos of life. I'm not asking you to do everything. I'm asking you to do the right things consistently. You don't need 1,000 tasks. You need a few sacred non-negotiables that you practice until they become who you are. Wake up before the noise. Move your body. Feed your mind. Protect your energy. Speak power into your day. Do the thing every single day that moves your vision forward. It doesn't have to be dramatic, but it must be daily. Success is not about intensity, it's about intentionality. It's about what you do when no one is watching. Because who you are in the dark determines what gets revealed in the light. I know some days will feel dry, some days you'll want to quit. Some days will tempt you to go back to the old version of you, the one who waited, who wished, who wavered. But that's where the power of discipline saves you. Discipline is the bridge between your intention and your transformation. And yes, it will feel boring at times, yes. You will wonder if it's working. But I promise you, every time you show up when it's hard, you are rewriting your identity. And eventually, you won't just be doing disciplined things. You will become a disciplined person. Your mind will stop looking for motivation. Your body will begin to crave routine. Your heart will trust that showing up is sacred. That's when the magic happens. Not when the world changes, but when you do. And I want to say this gently, but directly. Stop calling yourself undisciplined. Stop wearing procrastination as a personality trait. That's not who you are. That's who you learn to be. But it can be unlearned. You were made for order, for focus, for power, for rhythm. And it's already inside you. All you have to do is decide. Decide to stop negotiating with your excuses. Decide that your dreams are worth more than your comfort. Decide that your life matters enough to be lived on purpose. And then, each morning, win the first battle, the battle to rise each afternoon. Win the second battle, the battle to stay focused. And each evening, win the third battle, the battle to reflect and renew. That's what warriors do. That's what leaders do. That's what world changers do. And yes, you are one of them. It doesn't matter if your past is messy. It doesn't matter if you failed 100 times. It doesn't matter if no one clapped when you started. You are not building this for applause. You are building this because you refuse to die with your potential. Still buried inside, discipline is how you dig it out, bit by bit, step by step, day by day. Don't let the others talk. Let them doubt. Let them sleep. You rise. You walk the quiet path. You choose the narrow road. You honor the grind no one sees. Because you know this is how you become unshakable. And one day, the world will ask how you did it, and your answer will not be magic. It will be this: I decided to act every day, no matter how I felt. The legacy within, becoming who you were born to be. This is where it all comes together, not just what you've learned, but what you've chosen to become. You've walked through the fire. You've stared down fear. You've awakened purpose, ignited discipline, reclaimed your energy, and rewritten your mind. And now you are standing at the threshold of the life you were always meant to live. Let me remind you of something, Oli. You were never broken, you were becoming. Everything that felt like delay, failure, pain, it wasn't the end of your story. It was the preparation for the version of you who can finally carry it. You see, the goal was never just success. It was alignment, awakening, authority. It was about becoming. Because true success is not about what you accumulate. It's about who you become in the process. All of this, every word you've heard, every fire that was lit in you through these parts has been calling you home. Not to who you were told to be, not to who you pretended to be, but to the deepest, most radiant, most unstoppable version of you. The real you, the one who walks with divine confidence, the one who no longer waits for permission, the one who speaks, acts, builds, loves, leads from within. Let me ask you now, what do you want your life to say when you're gone? Will it say they played it safe, they stayed small, they avoided risk? Or will it roar, they rose, they gave their all, they lived with fire, they walked in purpose, they left nothing buried? Because legacy is not what you leave behind someday. It's what you live right now. Legacy is how you show up to the ordinary. It's how you treat people. It's how you handle setbacks. It's how you carry the weight of your calling even when no one understands it. Legacy is built on courage, and courage is built on action. Every day. Do not waste this life chasing shadows. Do not waste your fire dimming yourself to fit inside a world that was never built for your light. You are not here to blend. You are here to blaze. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be legacy. And let me say this as clearly as I can. You are already enough to begin. You are already worthy of rising. You are already equipped for the path you were called to walk. Everything else you will learn along the way. The clarity will come as you move. The wisdom will come as you fall and rise again. The strength will come as you keep showing up, even when you feel weak. This is not the end of your journey, it is the unleashing. You don't need another motivational video. You don't need more information. You need to act now, today. Because success doesn't wait for your confidence, it responds to your consistency. Do you want to know the real difference between those who change the world and those who merely observe it? It's not luck. It's not talent. It's not background. It's resolve. It's a sacred, immovable decision deep in the soul that says, I will not live one more day Beneath the level of my calling, I will rise, I will act, I will become, and every day after that is a repetition of that decision. Until one day, you look in the mirror and don't just see a dreamer, you see a finisher, a leader, a force of purpose, a builder of legacy. You see you, and that is when the world begins to shift. Not because it gave you a chance, but because you stopped waiting and took it. You stood up. You stepped forward. You said, enough. Enough waiting. Enough playing small. Enough negotiating with doubt. From this moment on, you walk with her. Fire that cannot be faked. You carry a clarity that cannot be shaken. You lead with a love that cannot be manipulated. This is the birth of your true self. The resurrection of your divine mission. The unshakable commitment to act every day in alignment with your highest purpose. So here's what I leave you with, the words I carried through every valley, through every winter, through every moment of pain. I will not be ruled by fear. I will be led by fire. Let that be your anthem. Let that be your vow. And let this be your legacy, that you became the person your purpose was waiting for. If this message stirred something inside you, don't let it fade. Leave a comment below sharing the moment that woke you up. Click like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to Unlocking Wisdom, because your journey is just beginning. And we're walking it with you, one powerful day at a time.